Bruins, Carolina. Wow, what a game. 22 minor penalties in this game. A goalie injured on a hit by David Pastrnak. Raanta is out. They're on to their third string. It's Trocehck, and he is fully Russian, meaning he does not speak a lick of English. Mr. Svechnikov has to translate for him to the trainers, and he stands on his head, and the Carolina Hurricanes end up getting through this one. Unbelievable. Let's go ahead and break it all down. Hey, you know who we're sponsored by, but today we want to give a big shout out to our buddy Weird Hockey Stats. He's joined our Discord down below. Join our Discord. You can hook up with us to chat hockey. We have over 80 people on there. The link is down below. We'd love to hear from you during the playoffs. And I want to share with you Weird Hockey Stats. He's an awesome fan of the channel, and we're a fan of him. Head to his Twitter. I'm going to throw it up on the screen right now. So what he has here is he says, Boston has become the first team to have 2 consecutive games in the playoffs where they allowed 5 goals, had at least 36 shots, and scored no more than 2 goals. Well, if that's not the most Boston thing to happen to the Bruins, I don't know what is. And I don't say that insultingly to the Bruins fans. Whatever you do in hockey, Boston does the opposite. They win with the opposite and they lose with the opposite. It is just something I have noticed for 10 years. Whatever I can predict about the Bruins, they will just do the exact opposite of it. But I still love the Bruins. I love the Carolina Hurricanes. Frankly, I'd love to say I love this game, but it was very one-sided. We said in our analysis that we love the Bruins going into the playoffs to upset a whole bunch of teams, but that the matchup against Carolina was not what Boston wanted. This is a terrible matchup. This isn't a sign of a team that's aging or getting out or couldn't have played at the highest level. This is a sign of a team that has a terrible matchup against the Carolina Hurricanes. Why? The Carolina Hurricanes close gap so fast. They support and create 2-on-1s all over the ice. The Bruins are trying to beat you with individual skill and players. They have a lot of talent. They want to go ahead and do that, and it works most nights. The Bruins also want to beat you up physically. Again, it works most nights, but it's not going to work against the Carolina Hurricanes because when you're coached by Rod Brind'Amour, you play the Brind'Amour way. And the Brind'Amour way is you get hit, you get up, and you support your teammates and you close gap. You aggressively forecheck. Forward and straight lines. Always forward and straight lines. Replace, 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 replace. It was on display tonight. The Carolina Hurricanes looked 10 times faster than the Bruins in the last 2 games. The Carolina Hurricanes looked more youthful. They looked tougher. They looked more spry. And the only reason there were 22 minor penalties in the game is because Carolina just pushed back as soon as the Bruins pushed. The Bruins pushed, Carolina pushed back twice as hard. So you couldn't intimidate them. And I expect nothing different from a Brind'Amour coach team. Trocehck comes in, and you know, the reason the Carolina Hurricanes goalies are all so good, I mean, Freddie Andersen was mediocre with the Leafs. He's like in God tier mode with the Canes, and I'm not knocking Freddie. If he comes back, there's a great chance that the Carolina Hurricanes win the cup. Raanta is one of the best backups in the NHL, looked strong for Carolina all year. I said he was a bit shaky last game. I thought it was. Unfortunately, I don't get to see him this game. Trocehck looks pretty good tonight, and that is because most goalies who are capable are going to look great in front of this team. That is how good this team defense is on this unit. Everything is simple. They don't mess around. They never leave their goalie out to dry. They are always backing up and helping each other, and they back check like crazy and play just one of the best defensive systems in the world. So what's Boston's strength? Physicality. Carolina matches it. What's Boston's strength? Team defense. Carolina is better than them at it. What's Boston's strength? Skill and speed up the middle of the ice in the neutral zone. Carolina neutralizes it. This is a terrible matchup for the Bruins. I hope it's not a sweep, but hey, 2 games. They're going back to Boston though, and that is a tough rink and city to play in. So I do expect the Bruins to take at least 1 back home, but if they play the way they played tonight, they're not going to. They got to find a way to crack the Carolina code. And if Carolina just keeps the foot on the gas and plays the exact same way, there's nothing to change. I don't think the Bruins can get through to them. So tough series, right? I mean, this is just something. And I know I got a couple great Bruins fans on here. Shout out Mark Goldie. They were nervous about it all year. I wasn't watching the Bruins from the outside in. I really like what the Bruins have to bring, but I really just don't like the fact that they ended up getting the Carolina mismatch. That's 5 losses in a row to Carolina. They have been outscored by a bajillion. They've only been able to put 4 in against Carolina, I believe, maybe 5 max. And Carolina's well over 25 goals against the Bruins this year, including the playoffs and regular season. That is a rough statistic. Some Bruins fans like to beat me up when I talk about goalies. I talked about Jeremy Swayman being the best goalie for the Bruins, basically from the beginning of the year. They brought back Rask. That was a terrible idea. Linus Ullmark got paid a lot of money. That was a terrible idea. I said Linus Ullmark was dust. Then he has a hot April, and I'm reminded going into the playoffs that there's no way they're going to start Swayman. They're going to start the hot Ullmark. And I kind of scratch my head and I go, you know, guys, I know I break down stats by the season. Then people want them broken down by April. They want to talk about what's hot. You break it down by April, they want to talk about the whole season. I always lean to the whole season because, frankly, the larger the sample size will tell you who the person is. And the larger the sample size said Linus Ullmark is not a fantastic goalie. Now, I'm not ashamed that they paid the $5 million for him, but they had Swayman in net, and he is the better goalie by all measurable statistics, play, eye test. He's there. So I think Swayman for sure is going to get the start in game 3. If they don't, that's banana sandwich. But Ullmark was never the guy. He had a hot little streak, and of course he's going to. He's an NHL goalie. They're all going to have hot streaks from the time. He just had it at either the most opportune or inopportune time, depending on the way you look at this. Should have been Swayman's net the whole way. I understand he's a young guy, but at some point you got to trust the kid to go forward. So can Swayman turn the series around? Maybe. Definitely maybe. Okay, so let's go to the highlight reel, and I'm going to talk to you about what I'm seeing instead of breaking down so many goals tonight. Look, 1, 2, 1. 1 Bruin, 2, and this is what we call puck support right here. 1, 2 Carolina Hurricanes, and this guy back here doesn't count. He's not in the play. So this is what I mean by it's always a 2-on-1 for Carolina, and it's in short little seconds like this that the Carolina Hurricanes all over the ice. This is why they look like they're faster than the Bruins, because no matter what the Bruins do, there is always a second Carolina Hurricane there to pick up the puck and continue pushing the pace forward. One guy plays a one-on-one battle, which happens down here, and the puck support guy ends up picking up the puck and moving out of the zone. Here's another play in the middle of the ice. Boston goes up to pick it up, and then again, you're going to see the 2-on-1 with puck support. Why don't you tell me if you can identify who the puck support guy is here? Because as that puck goes up, boom, big hit. That is as clean can get. Ends up going down, and then there's that puck support, and they're gone. And this is Carolina all day, every day. You might say, hey, that was a jump puck, but it doesn't matter where you go on the ice. There is always one hit and then puck support, and Carolina is going north every time. Here's an example of Boston outnumbering them 4-1 at this. Boom, big hit. Puck is kept in the zone. Again, 2-on-1 for Carolina. Even though it was a 4-on-1, Carolina is able to take 2 players, isolate the one, and keep the puck in the zone. And the first goal here from Eric Staal comes off of that. I mean, take a look at Erik Haula here for a minute. This is not where you want to be. I mean, you've already lost your guy down here in the corner, and Eric Staal is actually going to take 3 Boston Bruins with him. For a team that is this good at defense, this is just a mental lapse. But they end up getting smoked, and it's a 4-on-3. So again, this is why Boston's in a bit of trouble here. Every time Boston even outnumbers Carolina, the last example in this one, they're not skating fast enough to create 2-on-1s. One guy pressure the puck, one guy puck support. You actually have 3 guys who end up going passive here. When you see the back of Eric Staal, you want to pressure. There needs to be lots of pressure here. This is all contain. You shouldn't be containing. You see his back. Everybody needs to pressure here because you see his back, but they give him a free spin with the puck, and then they're right back to contain. Like, what are we in right now? Are we in a penalty kill situation? I know there's 5 guys out there, but they're playing a box plus 1, and they had the numbers. It was a 3-on-1. He ends up getting behind him here, and boom, fast ends up putting it in. Beautiful play by Staal and the third line of the Carolina Hurricanes, the line that's been together the longest for the Canes all year. This was hyper effective. I don't know how they froze and put Boston to sleep like that, but they did. Beautiful forecheck here by Seth Jarvis. The young Mr. Jarvis from Winnipeg puts the pressure on the Bruins defender, who ends up moving the puck around the net in a panic. There's no reason to panic there. Nothing to panic about, but Jarvis closes that gap so quickly. And then look how fast Carolina is able to turn this around. It's already a 2-on-1. You can see the 2-on-1. It's already there. The puck's wrapped around the wall. Boom! That is our puck. Slavin steps up, and just an amazing job by Jaccob. Slavin works it around the net himself and hits his partner, Tony Deangelo, up high. And we know what happens here with this second goal. Deangelo's an elite defenseman at scoring. He walks the line there beautifully, but you just got to look at the clusterfuck in front of the net. That's over. Game over. Puck's going in. And we can keep going and going and going, but that really was the game overall. Boston got aggressive in the second period. They took a lot of penalties. Carolina pushed back. Carolina can take all the penalties they want. They have the best penalty kill in the league. Look, one of them went in win. They actually ended up cracking code, which we said they needed to do. They need to crack this penalty kill of the Carolina Hurricanes, but it was too little too late. They made it 3-1. Nino Niederreiter comes back immediately to make it 4-1. Bergeron does it again. Bergeron's best player in this team, always has been, gets 2 tonight. He ends up making it 4-2, but that's not going to be good enough. You're not going to catch Carolina with that. Niederreiter again with the empty net. And the only stories that's really left to talk about in this game was, one, I'm really happy Charlie McAvoy is okay. That was a nasty knee-on-knee collision there. You never want to see those. But tough guy ends up coming back. The babyface assassin is fine. And, you got to hope Raanta is able to come back. I don't really understand what happened there. I don't get what Pastrnak was doing. It didn't look like a bad hit, and that's not the point. You can't hit the goalie. The goalie has the right to play the puck. You can't do that. It's a penalty all day. But I don't understand how he was so hurt. And I've looked at it a few times, and I'm not saying he's faking it by any means. He wouldn't be. He was cut. He went off. You end up putting in a third string goalie of a name I barely can enunciate. He doesn't even speak English. It's not like the fix was in here. So he was really hurt. It looked soft to me. So people who are saying, hey, that was a soft hit, why is that even a penalty? Well, it is a penalty, number one. And then number two, the Carolina fans who say that should be 5 minutes, our goalie was injured. And that's what Brindamore was saying. Like, you can't injure a goalie and not expect a 5 minute, but they don't get it. They give it 2 minutes. It's really interesting what's going on with refereeing, but I don't really like to comment on referees in the NHL because I think they're all junk and they never get it right anyway. I don't like the way the rule book's enforced. I just don't like any of it, but I don't like it for any team. People always think the fix is in against their team. I disagree. Players got to take it into their own hands and win. And Carolina's done that. No excuses, right? They win without Freddie, and now they win without Raanta against one of the best teams in the NHL. Carolina's on fire. The bunch of jerks rocks. Boston's going back home. Let's see if they can rebound, but Boston can't stay with their old tricks. They're going to have to find a way to change their game. They're going to have to find a way to isolate the Carolina Hurricanes and get away from these 2-on-1s if they hope to win.